live. Welcome, everybody. And tonight we've got a real exciting topic. We don't have a special guest, but we are an experienced panel and a panel that's real interested in learning. So, our mission statement is loosely that we're a group of cold-blooded fish keepers that keep both fish and reptiles, and we're interested in promoting the similarities between keeping those two pets. So tonight we're going to talk about some of the similarities specifically in keeping fish and pets, or fish and reptiles. I called them pets earlier, and I do consider mine my pets for the most part, so but that's probably another show. Welcome to everybody in the stream. And do you guys want me to go through and welcome everybody, or just jump right in?
We usually don't, so.
Okay, that's fine.
But if anybody has any questions or wants to throw in what they think is some similarities between fish keeping and reptile keeping, throw it in the chat.
Exactly. And we've got a producer. We promoted her very quickly from production assistant to producer, and that's Dee Dee behind stage there. So she's got an eye. She's controlling everything. She's pulling the strings. So give her something to do. And this is our seventh episode or volume. So the show's really moving right along. Every week's been a success, and we've had great guests or great panel and great input from the chat. We've really been surprised it's gone so well. So thank you, guys. So who wants to start off? Anybody have something they want to talk about as far as the similarities they see?
Yeah, I think something that you mentioned when you first opened up is a very good starting point, because I actually have fish that they're just fish. I mean, they're fish and I love them, but I have a couple of fish that I would consider my wet pets. And that's very similar to my reptiles. I have a lot of the different reptiles, like my leopard geckos and crested geckos, bearded dragons, but then I got some pets that I would consider more of a pet than a critter that I keep, because they're very personable. I interact with them. The same with my fish, with like Triton the Trimac. And I don't know why that is, but it's very similar for me in that aspect. And I'm not going to say all my fish are my pets, but I have a few pets that are wet pets, and the same with my reptiles.
Why do you think that? What's the difference? Is it their personality, or their color, or their shape, the way they feel? What sets them aside? What do you think?
I think it's the interactiveness that they put forth, because I put forth the same energy into all of them. But when, you got that snake or you got that bearded dragon that comes to the window, and yes, of course, I'm going to probably think, oh, yeah, you're just hungry. But he's not hungry. He wants me to take him out. He wants to sit on my shoulder. He wants to walk around with me. We got a routine. It's pretty cool. And I can see, like, the leopard geckos don't do that. Well, for one, they're crepuscular, so they're only out at dusk and dawn, but they don't do that even when they're out. They never, like, knock on the window and want me to take them out.
So which ones do you have that do that?
Well, definitely two of my bearded dragons, not even all my bearded dragons. I want Mushu, my Chinese water dragon, to be more interactive with me, but he's not. So I have to respect her that, okay, dude, you be you and I'll be me out here. Okay. But I would love that. And my tortoises, I've got some, the cherry head that follows me around the yard. He's already eaten. He's got food, but he will follow me around the yard. And the rabbit, because it's more of a mammal, but not a reptile, but follows me. Like, those are like the different, and my blue-tongued skink. I have a blue.
So do you think is it like a difference in how young they were when you got them, or do you think it's just their personality that they're born with?
That's a very good point. That could possibly be it. Because I'm trying to think of now, all the other animals that I talked about, well, except for Mushu, which I've had since he was born, hatched. I think that might be it. They're used to me. They know me. We have a routine. That's a good point. I don't know why. They definitely have different kinds of personalities, even within the same species.
Yeah.
But
But
Like,
I was
I have
wondering
one
if, like,
Oscar.
if you get one and raise it from a baby, if it's more apt to be that way
Right. Well,
than one that you say is like midway grown that you buy from a pet store that hasn't had that interaction probably from people before.
right. Well, Oscar, who's my nice Oscar, I've had all my Oscars except for J Oscar, the angry Oscar, but only Oscar follows me around from this side of the room to that side of the room after being fed. Like all the other ones, after they fed, they go on their merry way. Triton will follow me back and forth. So it's interesting. I would love to know if there is a correlation there between that.
It's
So I just thought,
interesting.
since you said that, that was a good segue.
I think everybody that keeps fish talks to their fish. I know I do. I don't really think of most of my fish as pets unless they are real interactive. And the pacu will let me pet them and
Oh
not
my
bite
gosh.
me. So they're definitely big pets, and I consider them almost like kittens or puppies. They beg for food, and they let me pet them and rub them and stuff. So,
Oh,
I
that's
don't know.
only because you share your trail mix with them.
Right? They do love them some trail mix, that dried fruit and those nuts. They do.
Oh yeah, Paul is a new bearded dragon dad, so he's getting to see that you don't have to raise them to see that there is a personality in them guys.
Yeah,
that's awesome, Paul.
his bearded dragon, you can see the personality. I told him that. Lizzie, you can just tell in the picture she's a character.
So bearded dragons would definitely be one that you can like become like that'll become sociable. What other ones do you think are more likely to, no matter what age you get them at?
My Uromastics. After they came out of their hiding, and even when I put them in the new enclosure, they had that first couple of weeks of hiding. And now they're out and they're up on their hind legs, and I feed them and I figure it's over. But then one of them will come up on their hind legs, and it's like I just go over and interact with him. I don't know if that's what he wants. I wish I could get in his brain, but that's good. The Uromastics does that.
I think you're right about that. The little Uromastics I've got, he's not a year old yet, but I've only had him a few months. But every day, or every week, I can tell that he's more solicitous is the word I use. And when I turn his light on in the morning, I've already got his salad chopped, and I know which door of his burrow he wants me to put it by.
He's got you trained.
He's got me trained, so it's like feeding the cat or the dog or something. And he gets fed first, even before the dogs and cats. He's got to get his day going. So it's interesting.
Yeah, Dragon says he believes that the bearded dragons, it's safe to say that they're domesticated now.
I wonder if the fact that people feel a bond to them is part of why they're the most, like the entry level reptile. Huh.
Right. Now, monitors, now that's a whole nother level. That's when you have an animal that could be smarter than your, because they are very smart. And like, let's say maybe like a tegu is not as smart, but very, very intelligent compared to, like, I swear my bearded dragon just wants to be happy. I don't see a lot of things going on.
No wheels turning.
Yeah, no. But definitely not with Clementine. Like, she can't even catch the insect I'm feeding. I literally have to put it right in front of her face. Wait for it.
I think that varies with individuals within the species too, because one of my turtles is definitely really stupid. I mean, it's you watch them for 10 minutes and you can tell that one's really dumb.
But turtles are definitely personable.
Yeah, but like I say, there's definitely a difference in the intelligence between the two that I have. So it probably varies, between species plus between individuals in the species.
Yeah, it's like I think we can all tell our animals, what kind of personality they're going to have, whether it be fish or reptiles. Just like Bob and I both said when I got Domino, my high white California king snake, that he is such a character and a troublemaker.
Oh, he gave me a heart attack the first night he stayed here before I could get him gone. Heart attack, heart attack. Jesus.
Dragon is asking if I've ever seen Winston the Tegu on YouTube. I have not, but the Tegu is a pet that I would love to be able to take care of for the rest of his life. And I figure if I put 3 of these enclosures together, so you would have like 12 feet by 3 feet. I think the only worry I have is, wouldn't he, as a grown up, be inclined to eat some of my pets if he could get to them? Like, he would eat a lizard, right?
That's kind of one of the things we talked about as a possible channel or topic was keeping community tanks of fish or community reptiles. So that's a great segue into that.
Yeah.
Is anybody keeping, we all keep fish together, I think, with the exception of really aggressive fish or fish that eat each other. But what about reptiles? Does anybody keep reptiles together?
I do. I have several that I keep together. And like you said, you can make a community fish tank of tropical, nice, lolly fish or aggressive fish, as long as it's the same level of aggression. And you kind of segregate that out into bottom dwellers, mid swimmers, and top, to keep their territory separate. I've done that with my vivarium. So I've got 3 or 4 levels to my vivarium. I got a Pac-Man frog, and it's a kind of frog that doesn't live in the water. He pretty much just sits in the dirt waiting for something to crawl in front of him to eat. Then I have the eastern musk turtle in the water on the bottom level that loves to swim, doesn't really like to bask, back and forth back. I never have to worry about him going up basking. And the minnows that swim around that the turtle can't get to, the minnows swim on the top. So that's like kind of a community of different species of everything that I've got going on in one enclosure. But my Uromastics, I have 3 in this aquarium, in this setup over here. My Uromastics I keep together. I have 2 Chinese water dragons in this enclosure. And I have groups of tortoises together, not the Russian tortoise. Right. They don't do so well together, but the cherry heads do great together. The sulcata.
So do you mostly keep the same species together, or do you mix species?
For the tortoises, the larger cherry head for the last 6 to 8 months has been in with my Central American wood turtles because they like the same moisture level. They like a little bit of water, and they like a lot of land. They like the same foods. They have the same environment, and they were all about the same size, and they were fine together. And the wood turtles can go into the water and get away if he wants to, or so that was working out well. I just recently separated out the cherry head because I'm starting the preparation for the fall time. If I got to check their poop, bring them inside. When they're outside, did they get any parasites, that kind of thing. So yeah, I do it. Usually I keep the same species. I don't ever mix. My turtles I mix, like the yellow belly slider, the red ear slider, and maybe a painted turtle are all in one large pond. My diamondback terrapin, I can't because he's an animal.
Yeah, now I've heard before that you can't keep 2, it's best not to keep 2 red-eared sliders together, but I've had mine together since they were like the size of a quarter or so, and I've never had any aggression towards the other one from either one of them. So I'm not sure how true that is or not. I've never had any trouble with them.
What are their genders?
I think I have a male and a female.
That might be why. That's a nice pair.
I don't keep any of my reptiles together. Although I was doing some research on dart frogs just a couple days ago, and you can keep morning geckos with them.
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yes.
But especially Domino, my king snake, I will never put another
Oh.
snake in there because that's what they're known for, is to eat another snake.
Oh
So
my.
Yeah. Bye-bye snake.
Wow. What about you, Bob?
I don't keep any reptiles together. I wish I could, and I wish ball pythons, I wish there was more information about keeping them together because they're such loners, and and in the wild they have a burrow and they stay in it pretty much all day and come out and hunt at night and go back in that burrow.
Okay.
But I just wish that they would go together. Some people have tried it, but it's kind of mixed reviews. Corn snakes I do keep together. I've got a little clan of 4 together right now, and they're doing well, and they all sleep in a ball of snakes. And
Do you have gardener snakes? Because I know that they like to be together.
I don't, but it reminds me of that, except more colorful. The way they ball up in a ball together.
Right.
I did just get an amphibian. I just got a American green tree frog.
Ooh.
Some of them didn't make it in the shipment, but one of them survived and is doing well. And I just
Did you get them as frogs or tadpoles?
frogs.
Ooh.
But I definitely am wanting to get some more and put in there, or see if there's another type frog, maybe like a white tree frog or something that'll fit in with it.
So I know in Petco, not that they're a good example of anything, but they have one of the long tail lizard in with a frog, like something that the lizard can't possibly eat. And so I'm not saying that to do that. I'm just throwing that out there that I've seen that.
Yeah, I think it's more forgiving to add fish from different continents than it is to add reptiles that are from different parts of the world.
Right.
I think that's the standard with that.
Now I do want to breed blue-tongued skinks, the northern, but that's the Skinkoides intermedia. But even if I did, I couldn't house them together. It's like during the mating, when I put them together, I have to stand there the whole time to make sure it doesn't go bad quickly and be able to separate them if need be. Whereas my bearded dragons, I was able to put them in and loosely watch them while they were breeding. Like, okay, she's done. Like, she's done now. Come on.
Yeah.
But blue-tongued skinks can get pretty nasty when breeding. But I would love to breed the northern blue-tongued skink.
Nice.
But I still would not be able to keep them together.
All right. Dragon Lair, Patrick's saying there, balls can be kept together if you have multiple hides in a big cage. You see, he has a huge amount of past and current experience, so I'm glad I brought that up.
What did he say? You could put some of the ball pythons together, what?
As long as you have multiple hides in a big cage.
That is like my Uromastics. Like if I just had a cold hide and a hot hide, that's good for one Uromastic. So I have like several hides, and this is a multi-layered enclosure, so they each can have their own territory. They can each get away from each other when they want to. You gotta give them.
So did they stick to their own hides? I mean, like, did they pick one out and that's the one that they go to every time?
Sometimes the yellow one will go in with the orange ones. I haven't named them yet. Go in with and that's what I mean. My pets that are reptiles, they have names. My Uromastics don't have names. I don't know why. Anyway, but the yellow one will go in, and I can tell the orange one doesn't like it, so he'll come out and go into another hide.
Ah, okay.
So if they don't like it, they just go somewhere else. So there's several hot hides, several cool hides. There's nothing moist.
So it's not necessarily like this hide is mine and this hide is
mine. This is mine while I'm in it.
Okay.
I got here first.
Exactly. And it helps that there's 2 layers. There's a first floor and a second floor, and they both have hot hides and cool sides and all that going on. And only 2 of my Uromastics can actually get to the second level, so that kind of makes it even better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I love the idea of community. I look for the reptiles that could possibly be community.
I would love to have a huge, like a room full of corn snakes. I mean, a huge place.
I think John would just fall over and faint. But the more I'm looking into these hognose, I'm thinking I'd be able to have a snake and he would never know it.
Well, no. And if you
unless
don't,
he's watching, then I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
If you get one that's about to lay eggs, you know, you'll have a colony and he will never know.
That would be great. I don't think they could be together, though.
No.
I don't know enough about them. I don't think so.
Now, I did have trouble with my turtles once, but it's a bit of a story. Do you want to hear the story?
Yes. We want to hear your tale. That's why we're RepTales.
Well, I have Mortimer and Stretch are the names of my turtles. Mortimer is an idiot, and Stretch is smarter, right? So I'm on a bike ride with my daughter, and she's like right behind me, and out in the middle of the desert. I mean, we were at least a mile from the closest water. I look down on the side of the road. There's a baby turtle, like a baby water turtle. And I came to a screeching stop, and she just about rear-ended me, and she was yelling at me, what the hell are you doing, you know? And I jumped down, and I grabbed this little turtle, and I stuck it in my shirt pocket and buttoned him up, you know, and we turned around and went home. Well, he was only like maybe 2 inches long, and Mortimer and Stretch were probably a good 6 inches or so. But, you know, I only had the one tank, so I went ahead and put him in with them. But I was watching them really close because he was a lot smaller than they were. So you could see Mortimer spotted him first, and he goes swimming over there. He's like, oh, food. And he goes swimming over there, looks at him and says, oh, turtle. Turned around and went back to the other side of the tank. That was Stretch, the smart one. Mortimer spots him and goes swimming over there. Oh, food, you know, goes swimming over there, takes a look. Oh, turtle. Turns around, swims back, goes the other side of the tank. But then Mortimer's not really smart. So like every 5 minutes, he would catch sight of him and go, oh, food, and go swimming over and check him out again, right? Stretch knew it was a turtle and never bothered him again, but Mortimer kept swimming over, like every time he caught sight of him, you know, oh, food, you know, and go swimming over, oh, turtle. But the next morning I got up, and this poor little turtle had half its tail gone, bitten off, and I'm like, yeah, I know who did that. So I ended up, I gave the turtle to my son, the little turtle to my son, who named him the Great Atul, I believe. But anyway, Tucker had them for years and years. So, but like I say, they were smart enough to realize it was a turtle, but Mortimer wasn't smart enough to keep that in mind, to keep it in his head, you know, that it was another turtle. So,
poor Mortimer.
Oh, I know, right?
So he ended up like biting him.
I wonder if some kind
of. I don't think that he meant to eat another turtle. He just wasn't that smart. He's just not that smart, you know. So he kept forgetting.
Well, Louie, my diamondback, means to bite off the toes and tails of any other female turtle. And if I put another male, he will go to the death. So he lives in a pond outside all by himself with a couple of goldfish.
Okay.
Yeah. He just doesn't. I think he just wants to breed. He wants a female that he could breed, and then I'd have to remove her.
So in the wild, are the males territorial?
I don't know. Because they're brackish, so they're a little bit more of a salt water. I think they might be territorial about their woman, but when they want to breed, they want to breed.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But that's not just the turtle.
I'm wondering if in the wild, if they have like their area, and any female that comes in that area, you know, like each male has his own area.
I don't think so, because this was the female's tank, and it was a 100-gallon tub, and it was her tub, and I put him in, and I had to because you know I watch it like a TV show for the next couple days.
Yeah.
And I had the net ready. I kept having to pull him out. I'm like, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. And then I saw that he had a bit the scoot, and he was attached to the scoot. I'm like, no, okay, that's a real bite. That's not nipping. That's a bite. Mm-mm. So I had so he lives by himself. He's never going to mate. I'm not going to put a female turtle in danger like that.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
But what BJ said, that he's got several tree frogs with anoles together.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I'll have to find out what kind.
Ah.
And I'm glad to see and agree with what Dragonlair said. As little as I know about snakes, and only kept them 3 or 4 years, the corn snakes are the best to start with. I agree with that. After starting, of course, I took Sand Creek Aquatics a snake. It needed a home when he passed, so that's how I started with the ball
So you're saying
python.
corn snakes?
I have corn
My
snakes. Yeah.
feed has
Yeah, but
been
how
filled
many
with-
you have your corn snakes all together, don't you?
Yeah, I have 4
Yeah,
of them.
4 of them in one tank, so they obviously do well with each other.
Now they may have issues though, if there's 2 males during mating, so, with that kind of thing. I know that, but I watch them close, and they don't fight. They're juveniles so far, so. But that's interesting. It's
So my
always
file feed, for some reason, has been filled with, and I've never researched it, rosy boas, the best first snake for someone. Like, I never researched it, just popping up in my stream now, time and time. But have you had a rosy boa?
No, not me.
Yeah,
That's
like
a
I know
little
what it
bit
is.
above my pay grade right now.
I have looked for a rosy boa for 2 years.
Okay.
Oh, they're hard to find.
Yeah.
I think they're
Ah.
expensive too, aren't they, Mike?
I gotta look up real quick and see what they look like.
Yeah, look at Furlow's back from his reptile show down in Florida. Are you back, or are you just going there? You might be heading there.
This weekend, maybe.
That's a long way to go.
Furlow is our guest next week.
Oh, I can't wait to see what he
Oh,
gets.
desert rosy boa, they're pretty.
Aren't
Yeah,
they?
they are.
Yeah, and they're supposedly pretty sweet mannered.
And they're live bears.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, the hognose now has competition. Rosy boa,
Since
hognose.
they're native to the American
That was,
Southwest and Baja California.
Ah,
Yeah, rosy boa was the first snake I ever wanted, and I could never find one that was affordable.
oh, are they expensive?
Yeah.
So, what do you think
It
about
says they're
that?
docile and they tolerate handling well.
Oh, the rosy boas?
Yeah.
That's what I heard. And if you're a first time snake owner, you're going to want to handle them a lot, because your first time, like I would want to. I'd be on every stream with the snake walking around my fingers and stuff. Like, I would never put her down if I got one.
That's the way my new ball python Jade is. I want to work with her a little more and get to know her. But so far, she seems pretty handleable.
Okay.
And I want to start bringing her on shows and stuff. So
Oh,
Nice.
she's quickly becoming my favorite. Even though she's a normal ball python, she's got a great color and pattern. So
She's a pet.
yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
What about moving on a little bit? You're switching gears here. What about plants and hardscape and even substrate in our habitats with reptiles and fish? What are the similarities in that?
I know for me, I got a whole shelf full of different aquatic substrates and a whole shelf full of different reptile substrates.
that's yeah, I think it's just like fish keeping. We have live plants, we have fake plants.
Mhm.
We use rocks in both, wood.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
another
and I would never put sand and I don't know, like leaf litter in my. Well, I do have leaf litter, but I wouldn't put sand in my Uromastics because they like it more hard, rockier, and I wouldn't put the dirt like in my crested gecko per se. Well, he does have. I guess they all would take the dirt. They all take dirt. It's the same and some of the other very specified substrates that I want. Just like with shrimp, I would try to keep them on those pellet like substrates versus that my deep bedded. I don't know. I don't have shrimp, so I can't say.
Podrick, I haven't watched that yet, but it is still on my queue.
Dave, I love Dave Kaufman.
Yeah.
But what about you, Bob, and the plants? I mean, I know you have a lot of planted tanks. Do you have a lot of planted terrariums and enclosures for your reptiles?
I'm working on it. I put a lot more research, and I want them to be more authentic. Some of the plants for me are generic. I do have some planted tanks, and then I have like the tank behind me that's all silk and some plastic because they would eat real plants and love to eat duckweed and stuff like that. But so I'm a little more lackadaisical with the aquatic plants, but the terrestrial plants, I really like to put more effort and research into it, and I like finding out what really works, and also which plants are interchangeable between the two hobbies.
Oh, yeah.
Pothos, big surprise, is great in with the snakes, like the ball pythons and the corns. They break them down, but they come right back up, So I found those to be great. Of course, we know how good they are for nitrates and stuff in our tank. So, yeah, but I really enjoy trying to make it look as authentic to make the snake feel comfortable or whatever the reptile. But I've noticed the snakes really respond.
Right.
The African house snake, the black one, she's a brown one. She really, really seems to enjoy her since I updated her. I know you felt bad for her, Susie. Susie's like, put some wood and stuff in there. But I hadn't got anything done to her when I first got her. But she has her little trails and all that in there. She knows where water and goes and gets her. So she's living the best life in there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Somebody just put up something about bromeliads. I know tree frogs love them because they hold water in the middle. I know the crested gecko loves any leaf where they can fit into, like a hammock.
Yeah.
I know dart frogs like them a lot too for the same reason. They get little pools of water, and they'll actually, if you don't have a pond in their tank, they'll sometimes like put their eggs inside the broom lake, like for the babies.
Babs is asking if anyone has mushrooms in their terrariums. I don't, but I wish I did.
I don't. You know what I do grow in a lot of my terrariums and my tortoise enclosures? Chia, because I sprinkle the seeds down and it grows like within a week. And some love to lay on it, some love to chomp on it, and I just keep sprinkling seeds.
Where do you get the seeds for that?
It was in like the grocery store. Like I guess people eat them or something. I don't know. It was a big, big jar.
Oh, wow.
It was like
that's kind of cool.
Real chia. So I like them because they're very fast growing. My bearded dragons will eat. I look at it, any live plants I put in there. They have to be animal safe because they're going to look at it like lunch.
Yeah.
Because my bearded dragons, aside from one, are mostly older, and they rely more on vegetables and the leafy lettuce and the aloe plants. Like they like that more than the crickets. Whereas when they were younger, it was more about the roaches, the crickets, the worms. And I had a.
So do you have to keep the ground moist in their tank to be able to grow the seeds, or?
Yeah, but what I do is I have them in a pot inside the substrate, so the pot can stay moist. But I try to keep the humidity down under 40%.
Okay.
So it can't. And that's the problem. It's not just a problem with bearded dragons. You know where the problem lies the most is with the reptile police.
Yeah.
They come knocking on your door. I saw that you have a water dish. There must be a 35 comment argument between two viewers on whether or not to have a water dish in a bearded dragon enclosure. Like I wasn't even a part of it. I was like, I stand back from that. But I was pretty sure that it's different. Depends on where you live. Like if you live in a dry area and your humidity's at like 20%, you can keep a water dish in there. But if you live like in Florida, I wouldn't keep a water. Like It depends. It's not like one pat answer for all. And I think that's
Right.
another huge similarity between fish keeping and reptile keeping. You got those people out there that somehow or another in this digital age, they get this authority to think that it's their way or no way. And I think that's so similar with whether you're keeping fish or whether you're keeping reptiles. As long as you put in the enclosure, all the needs are met for that animal,
Right.
decorate it the way you want.
Right. Have fun
Like,
with it.
you be you,
Yep.
I'll be me. Don't be knocking down because I got plastic plants in there. Or I wanted to make a Lego couch for my bearded dragon. Like, what do you care? As long as he's got all his needs met, he doesn't care that there's a couch inside there. You know, like I just find it funny that people are like, "Oh, I can't believe you have toys in there." Like,
The things that people take issue with that are not issues.
Yeah, right.
Like, let's talk about the 10 requirements a bearded dragon needs. Are they all fulfilled? Okay.
Exactly.
And that's the same with the fish. It's the same with the fish, man. People are like, why do you have a coffee mug in there? I'm like, it doesn't leach anything out. It's a decoration. Like, I'm trying to sell it. Like, what do you care?
Right.
Wait, shameless plug. RepTales coffee mugs will be available soon.
Huawei, also known as Grasshopper, also known as Sammy, asked a good question, and Dragon Lair gave him the smart answer. And I think I'll add to that, the reason they're called ball pythons is because of their behavior of balling up in a ball and protecting their head. Lots of pictures you'll see of ball pythons or people that hold them in their hand. They'll be in a ball with their head looking out. You can see the little face.
So that's like a defensive stance?
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Oh, I didn't know that.
right.
Oh.
Somebody talked about humidity there. Did I see a question? How do y'all keep the humidity right?
Oh,
Well, in my fish tanks, I keep the humidity pretty high.
Yeah.
What about your turtles?
Well, they're in water.
In
so
water.
Yeah. They have some land to climb out on, basking place. But yeah, so I don't bother testing their humidity because there's water there for them.
So I have a digital hygrometer that tests humidity, what the high point, low point was throughout the day, temperature, high point, low point. And I also have a thermostat, but we're talking about the humidity. So every enclosure for me is different because everybody has, like this mountain lion. Well, he's really a dragon, but my mountain lion, he likes it high humidity, like a chameleon, high humidity, likes to be misted a couple times a day. And my Uromastics, they don't even get water ever. So I got to make sure the humidity is down to like under 20%. But some of the ways you get up humidity, I get up humidity in my water dragon tank. I have a sponge filter in there. So as it aerates, it's spitting out water, which is creating humidity as well as a fogger. Not a lot of mist.
So do you have a humidity meter in every tank that you keep an eye on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this
Edric
is
just dropping the info there. Pythons lay eggs and boas give live birth.
I don't know if you can see it. This is a 60% humidity and 81 degrees.
Okay, and there's some species, do you need to raise the humidity when they're shedding or leave it the same?
I rely on the humid hides for that. So they have a cold humid hide and a hot humid hide. They can go in this hide that's usually stuffed with sphagnum moss. So if they need that little extra, they know what they need, just like they know when they need to be cooler or hotter. They know to go into that area and it gets all
okay.
From what I know. You guys can say how you do yours.
I don't give my ball pythons a humid hide. So far, the humidity has worked out okay. That they're getting full sheds, and with just the way I keep them with. But my ball pythons I usually miss twice a day. And that's kind of a question that there is no single answer to.
Right.
It depends on your enclosure. It depends on your animal.
Mm-hmm.
Like
But
my
if you had to
chameleon,
create humidity, how would you do it? Would you mist it?
water is your best friend, and along with the heat. It's like my chameleon cage. Since it's in a wire screen cage, I have to work harder to get my humidity up there.
Okay.
And I have an automatic mister system on that tank that mists that tank 3 times a day.
Okay. Have either of you ever used a fogger?
I have not used a fogger. I have been starting to look into them.
So are you ready for a tale?
Okay.
So I got these foggers. They were like $12 on the internet. They're pretty generic foggers. You put them in a bowl of water and they create the fog and you keep adding it to the water. But apparently, and it looks really cool, it's not like a cool air fogger like you could set up, you buy one and it's like a cool vapor fogger. This was, you place it in the water and it shoots out fog and it looks really good. The problem is that water gets so hot that I burnt one of my frogs. So all of those got removed. And I only use cold air foggers. So you can get a super cheap one on the internet and think, oh, I'll DIY myself and blah, blah, blah. I'm just giving you my experience that I will not do that again unless I'm putting it in a large body of water. This was just a deli cup of water and it got so hot, my red-eyed tree frog went in there and got burnt. And you can't understand the horrible pain that I felt knowing I caused that. You know, it was totally avoidable. I just didn't know better. Now that's why I'm sharing that tale.
Yeah.
Because I know better now. Although they were fun to make, they look amazing. And if you could keep that water outside of the enclosure and just shooting the fog in, that would be even better. Yeah, but I had it inside the enclosure, not knowing that it was going to change the temperature of the water. I think it got pretty dang hot. So now I look towards cool air foggers.
Another thing that is definitely a similarity is the light, the type of light, UVB versus not, and that kind of thing. And with reptiles, I find it to be of more concern to me, and that I want to research it. And you can throw a shock light on most things, and grow plants and make algae and do all that. But you definitely want to get your reptiles the correct light and the UVB and make sure they can absorb it and that kind of thing.
Like my chameleon, it has a basking light, has a UVB light, and it has a plant light.
Right. And do you know what happens if there's not enough UVB while they're growing up or they're existing?
Yeah.
Well, their bones can't develop properly, and also it affects some other systems too. But basically, they without the
metabolic bone disease. Yeah,
exactly, metabolic bone disease.
Horrible. It's where their bones almost get rubbery, and it's painful. Which is why that leopard gecko over there that was rehomed to me has no hands, because they put a regular light on this enclosure the whole time he was growing up for probably 2 years. It's just now that he's in the right, like his bones are better, but they never get better. His hand's never going to get better. It's so critical. And with turtles, it can cause a lot of pyramiding, that and a lack of moisture, and when they're little tiny torts. There's a UVB, and they're not dependable. Just because you bought a UVB doesn't mean that it's going to be good. There are very unreputable companies out there selling UVB that are horrible. And after a while, a UVB is no longer good, even though it's still shining bright. And it's not necessarily diminishes in UVB, although they do. Sometimes they spike in UVB. So you have to really, whether the light's shining or not, you got to change your UVB. Like,
how often do you change them?
They said they recommend every 6 months.
Yep,
Right.
twice a year, just like a dentist appointment.
I think that's probably one of the places that reptile keepers are lacking most, or it's one of the most common errors is not keeping up with that expiration date.
And you would think a UVB tester would be affordable because it's so critical, but they're so silly expensive.
They are.
I have one because I have 21 enclosures. I can't afford to be like, oh yeah, this one's 6 months. I can't even remember, did I water them today? Like, let alone how old is this UVB and that UVB and this UVB? Like, so I gotta.
So if you test it, you test it up like on different levels, like how close it is to the light and all that stuff.
As close as the animal can get to the light. So where the UVB is shining down, like on my Chinese water dragon, the UVB stretches across the whole enclosure.
Yeah.
He can only, like, I'll test it on all different levels. But over here, it's a bulb shining down of UVB and with the inside reflector of the metal, so it gets a little bit more. So I do it where he can be at that level.
Okay.
That's how I test it.
I've already changed the bulbs for my chameleons, and it seems like I just had them for 3 months, but I've already due to change the bulbs the second time next month. So it creeps up on you.
Yeah, and that's something I really wish newer reptile keepers would. It would be like, I wish this information was easier for them to find.
Right.
But if you go in a Petco and you get a bearded dragon, they say, "Oh, you just need this and this and this and this," and then they don't really understand the importance of it. Why is it like that, and how long is it good for, and all that.
So do you write down when you change the bulbs so you don't forget, or do you like change them all at once?
With your memory, Pam, yes, I would.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I just saw the T-Bone wrote something and it freaked me out. Like, oh my God.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
His partner coming on and telling us that he passed away 2 days ago.
Sorry, Patricia.
I'm so sorry.
No.
I was kind of like seeing that post. I got freaked out a little bit because I had seen on Lefty's post that he had passed as well. I was like,
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that.
Patricia. Her name's Patricia. Oh. If there's anything you need from the fish world, just let us know. Dragon said, "Lucky I have a UVB meter. It was expensive." Exactly. It's when I was working full time, and I kind of let on to John that this is a necessity. It's not like I didn't realize it was optional, and I just kind of like got it that way because I knew with how many fish tanks I had and how many reptiles I had, like I can't keep track of that. I need that meter. Like Bob, you seem very organized to me. Because I could never do everything manually the way you do, like with the misting and the lights and the everything. Like, I need some automation going on.
Paul has a great question there, and I try to do 12 hours for the variety of things I have. It seems to be like 12 falls in, is the common denominator. Not going to hurt any of them, but it's going to be very beneficial at 12. So. Kind of just like a day cycle. Does anybody else do anything different?
I do all mine 12-hour cycles.
In your reptile room?
Yeah.
Or your fish room?
Reptile.
Okay. I do not keep them on 12 hours. They go on because there's nothing set up yet. They come on when I come down to do water in the morning, and they go off when I go to bed. So if I'm going to bed at 7:30, they're going off at 7:30. Last night I forgot, and I was already sound asleep and woke up out of a sound sleep because I have a couple enclosures like the Urmastics. They like it hot, but at night they need that coolness. Like, so I can't keep it hot. So I got freaked out and jumped out of bed and came down here and, cursing, turning all the lights off. I need to get some timers going on. I need to get this electricity set up. But 12 hours for me, I don't think it's ever been 12 hours. They probably would like that, but no, pretty much when I come down, I turn them on. When I go to bed, I turn them off. Whereas it's funny, in my fish room, Almost everything's on a timer. It goes on, it goes off. And then that's only like 7 hours because I don't want too much light. It'll get all the algae and stuff. So,
Izzy, wait, the reptile police are going to get you for that, and also not naming those pretty little
I
yellow,
know.
orange Euromastics.
Exactly. So I have several orange critters, right? So I have Clementine up there, Tanner down here, short for Tangerine, and those are my two bearded dragons. So now I got a Euromastics next to them. That's like, okay, I got to come up with some cool, bright orange names. I'm like, and yellow, like Sunshine. I was going to do lemon lime, but then, lime is green. But
Edie says she's calling the reptile Coco right now.
Last week, I remember I told Mike I named them last week. You ready? Styx, Yuri, and Max. Euromastics. Those are their names. Max, Styx, and Yuri. Yuri is the yellow one, like urine.
Yeah.
Styx. And Max is the bright orange one because one's a dull orange and one's super bright. I did name them last week and I just forgot. See, how can I be reliable to change my UVBs if I can't even remember that?
Did you all see that comment Bob Purcell made about trying to breed in temperate species? You need to cycle the lighting and temperature to mimic the seasons. That's a good point.
If you're trying to breed. Oh, yes. And that's the same with fish. That is a very good similarities. If I know there's a big storm coming, I will do a water change with cold water, feed them frozen food, and let the barometric pressure drop and let the breeding begin. I didn't even think about that with the with some of my reptiles. If they don't grumate, they won't breed.
I think that's another similarity that I just thought of is between fish and reptiles is the reptile hobby is finally catching up to the fish hobby on scaping our tanks. We're making our tanks looking better. We're not just getting the tank and putting the basic needs that our reptiles need in it and call it good. We're actually trying to make it look escape,
like creating an environment for them.
Right.
Similar to a biotope.
Yep.
Just so everybody knows, Patricia is taking care of the 3 fish tank and doesn't know a whole lot about fish keeping. So if you see her in any of the chats, pay attention. If she has any questions, make sure she can handle it because she's got 3 tanks now to take care of, and you just might like it, Patricia. Just saying, I do. Taking care of fish is very rewarding.
It is, and it's a great stress reliever and hobby. Tennessee Fish Mafia.
Nice. Look at that. We got a plug. I love it.
That before it gets too late here, I just want to encourage everybody to go over and become a member of our Facebook page. We're at 91 members now, so we're almost to 100 in a very short time. So,
ooh, on Facebook?
Yep.
Yeah, because you'll always see the link on Facebook.
And we encourage all the members on our Facebook page, post your pictures of your reptiles.
Oh, yes, please.
They are so great. We love them all.
Yep.
That's a big similarity. And sorry, Mike, go ahead.
The other thing I wanted to say is make sure you're subbed to everybody on the panel here. We
A
are
big
having
similarity is that we all like with our fish, we love to show them and talk about them. And
oh my gosh, endlessly.
videos, and it's the same with reptiles.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially if somebody says a word like bioactive. Okay, let's sit down. We're chatting. We're chatting about this bioactive. Come
Oh,
on.
that kind of reminded me, Susie. You made a comment about bioactive as comparing it to being cycle.
Right. Well, I think we're out
Earlier.
of time, but I think that is a
Are
great,
we?
that could be a whole topic with the nitrogen cycle
No.
versus the bioactive cycle and getting your tanks and enclosures ready before you get the animals.
Yeah.
Nobody puts a time limit on us.
No, I like that.
That's true. We don't have a time limit, but if we need to quit, y'all just tell me what to do.
I'm not a leader. I am a follower.
Me too.
Mike, you're our leader here. You
No.
say the word.
Well, we still got 4 minutes to go anyway. So
Okay. So the way I see it,
There you go.
so, and Mike and I were talking a little bit about it before the stream. I'm talking about somebody who has a fish tank or somebody wants to get a reptile to set the enclosure up first. And I don't want to sound like a hypocrite because I can whip together a fish tank in 15 minutes and it'd be safe for fish. But keep in mind, I have 40 fish tanks. I have extra beneficial bacteria. I've got everything I need to set up a fish tank safely. And the same thing with reptiles. But if you're starting from scratch, you're going to want to make sure it's set up first. And with fish keeping, you want to get that nitrogen cycle built up so it'll sustain your fish. And with a bioactive enclosure, you're going to want your detritivores, the little critters in there that keep the detritus. You want to get them set up and stable and your plant's roots stable before you add your animals. So it's almost like that's half the fun is building the terrarium or building the habitat, planting the plants, getting the good drainage layer going, making sure you got the isopods, the earwigs, the springtails, everything that you need established, breeding, they're all set. Now you can add your animal and know that every time they poop, those critters are going to come and eat that poop. It gives you a time to get established. Just like I like to plant a whole aquatic garden and get my aquarium really strong before putting the fish in. So I think that's a huge similarity between the nitrogen cycle and a bioactive getting them all set up ahead of time. It's not to say that I can't whip it together super fast. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the Bio Dude. He just gets an enclosure,
Yes.
puts in, he puts it all together, wraps it up, and let's go. Like, I can do that because I have lots of bits and pieces. But if you're a first-time reptile keeper, you probably don't have 2 or 3 enclosures sitting around and 16 plants outside propagating and all this kind of stuff. So I didn't want to sound like a hypocrite by saying get your enclosure ready first. Or there's times I come home from a reptile expo and have an animal and it's like, okay, I don't have an enclosure. Like, I don't have anything set up. What?
I have a quick question for you guys. What do you, is there like a go-to place for getting information on taking care of different reptiles at like there it definitely is a couple really good websites on different kinds of fish and their care. Is there a good one for reptiles?
Yeah, herpetology colonies out there. What do you call them? That they have the meetings and stuff. Always good. I know there's a bearded dragon websites dedicated to bearded dragons, so it's not necessarily a one-stop shop. But I can tell you, don't rely on what you see in Petco. They're trying to sell you stuff. Nothing against Petco, but they're trying to sell you stuff.
Yeah.
So that's not always what's needed. Same thing with the fish. They just want to sell you different
And I wouldn't rely on like Facebook groups for the most part because
I wouldn't because
too many police people out there.
Right. So it makes it real hard. If you want to hear the extreme, yeah, go to the Facebook and you'll hear extreme. But if you go to like a fish club, if you go to 4-H or somewhere where a bunch of herpers meet together, or if you have learned of some YouTubers that are credible, like breeders, they know, they've had the experience, like they've gone through what works and doesn't work. And they can tell you their experience. That's where I go. What about you, Bob? Where do you go?
I was going to say, and then Bob Purcell says Reptile Magazine. So journals, I like to look at back issues of journals and things that have stood up, and also forums. that's where the old reptile keepers are going to be talking about, what works and what didn't, and what they did 20 years ago. And
yeah,
forums are great.
yeah.
And I think watching a lot of YouTube videos and somebody you feel like you're connecting with, go with that.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
Find a mentor. Yep.
Yeah. Dragon Lair, which I know is a wealth of information, is someone I trust is reputable. Like, so when he says something, I don't double check everything he says because I trust what he's saying.
Right.
He's been in the hobby. He knows what he's talking about. Whereas somebody else puts out a YouTube video, I might want to watch about 6 or 7 videos and see what I want to take from it. Right.
Yeah.
And Dragon Lair is also talking about the NRBC. And let me tell you, Eric Furlow's going down there. It's the biggest reptile show east of the Mississippi. And I wish I had gas money to drive down to Florida. It would probably take 22 hours. Oh, if I had gas money, it'd be worth the trip. Oh, I don't have that kind of gas money.
We'll find out about it next week.
Yes.
Yep.
So Snake Discovery, Bob Purcell is saying, just did an enclosure build that has been a lot of fun to watch. All the creatures are posting, all the creators are posting videos of their builds. Yes. Snake Discovery, there's a lot of controversy about Snake Discovery and Clint Reptile because they talk about the minimal, and you got some reptile police that don't want to hear the minimal, they want to hear the maximum of the size. But in all reality, if I bring home a bearded dragon for the first time, I'm probably going to put him in a 40-gallon breeder.
Yep.
Like, I'm not going to beat somebody up because that's the minimum size. So when they say it, it's supposed to be they should know better. You should say bigger and better. But in all reality, or if I'm a mom and I got 4 kids and somebody wants a bearded dragon, I'm going to get a 40-gallon breeder. So we're here to show you how to make the best of that 40-gallon breeder and how we make it work. Not everybody can have 6-foot by 3-foot enclosures.
That's my ultimate goal for this show, is to get Snake Discovery on here.
That would be great.
That's so extravagant.
I won't even be able to talk. I'll be fanboying so bad that
That is so awesome.
Well, should I go ahead and wrap it up, guys?
Yeah, this was a great
I think you can.
Pull Dee Dee up. We got to thank her for her work.
Yep.
Coming up, Dee Dee.
Yeah, you got to warn her. You can't just bring her up with it. She can
They don't have my shirt on.
Don't warn her. Jesus.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Thank you, Dee Dee, for keeping us on task and pointing out what we need to be talking about and so forth. You're a huge help, and we love you and appreciate you for that. So,
Thank you.
what are you laughing at? Because I said to keep us on what we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah, I ain't done nothing.
She's trying her
Get a
best.
lot of credit for nothing.
She's trying her best. Hey, that's all.
I go look at private chat quite a bit.
Yeah, I do too. But yeah, thank you guys for supporting us and coming in, and we're just really thrilled and pleased with how much interest and participation there is between the two hobbies, and that's what we're here to promote and try to help with. If you're wanting to start out with reptiles, you have reptiles and you want to contribute knowledge, or if you recently got reptiles and just want to learn something, this is the place to stop in. So we're here every Friday night, 7:30 Eastern. And as Mike said, we do have Eric Furlow next week as our guest, and he has more reptiles than everybody in the chat probably put together.
And he might have some new ones from the show.
From the show this week, and he talked about that. So that's awesome. But everybody on the panel, thank you guys for being here, and for everybody here is awesome to work with. Pam's rough sometimes, but it's sad to say that.
Somebody's got to be.
Is she laughing? All right. So, and thank you, Mike, for being our host channel.
Yes, Mike, thank you.
So we can all hang out here and do this stream.
So we tell them I'll be on my channel one more week, and then we're moving to Susie's channel
Awesome.
for the month of September. So
He's really
Awesome, awesome.
So make sure you're in that Facebook group, because then you'll always have the freshest link.
Right. Know where to go.
I'd like to thank the mods and everybody, Lurker and the replay crew. You all are so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. And we need 9 more subscribers over on RepTales. So to get to 100, we're almost there.
Yep, I'm going to post that one more time, guys.
Oh, cool.
So if you haven't checked it out on Facebook, if you've got Facebook, check out our RepTales group and post pictures of your babies.
Yes. All right. Anything
Yeah,
else?
Lucky Smith, that's right. Everybody, like I said, everybody make sure your hook set to everybody on the panel. We are going to start rotating channels to have the stream on, so make sure you don't miss out.
It's going to be fun.
All right. If there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and get out of here. Mike will have to shut us down.
And everybody have a great weekend.
Yes.
Very much
Be
so.
safe. Stay cool.
And Furlough and everybody who's able to make it, have a great time at the Daytona this weekend.
Oh, there is a Repticon. I'm sorry. We're supposed to talk about local things. There is a Repticon next weekend in Chattanooga.
Oh,
And I've been tied to Ed. I think he's going to go with me to that one since it's only 30
I
minutes.
love when you guys go. Oh, my gosh.
All right, everybody. We love you all.
Good night, everybody.
Peace.
All right.
No cussing.